This season of the Urban Conservative Podcast is brought to you by Newton for Senate, working to improve education, reduce taxes, and keep North Carolina #1 for business. Find out more at newtonforsenate.com. This episode of the Urban Conservative has also been sponsored by Case Technology Consulting. Help your business get value out of its data and become more efficient and streamlined. Case Technology Consulting. Check out the link in the description. Episode of Top of the Morning is brought to you by Edward Jones financial advisor Kelly Harmon, providing you with well-researched guidance backed by Edward Jones' extensive team and technology that help you prepare for retirement, children's education, or other financial goals. Call 252-473-1006 or visit the link on the screen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Top of the Morning. You know what it is. Best 30-minute podcast in your morning. Catch you up on some things. You locked in with the TUC twins right here on the Urban Conservative, of course. Yep. And as usual, head over to the website, tuconservative.com. Get yourself a membership, sponsor an episode, sponsor a season. Help us out so that we can continue to spread conservative values and policy ideas into our urban centers and help our folks get, in line with what they should be in line with and coming to recognize that they actually are conservative. They just, they just need that little nudge, and it needs to be said to them in a way that they can understand, Because a lot of, the jargony stuff don't work all the time. You know what I'm saying? The jargony, the super political jargony, you can't come with everybody with that. You know what I'm saying?
That doesn't work with every audience, bro.
Sometimes you got to hit them with a nah mean.
A nah I'm saying, son?
You know what I mean? We're bad, eh?
Speaking of nah mean, if you're nah mean, I got to give a big shout out. And I know you're like, bro, this don't got nothing to do with it. And nobody knows this. But I got up with a good friend of mine last night. And we had a very interesting political conversation. And one of the things we got to realize, and I didn't realize this, but my man is unaffiliated. Like a lot of people are unaffiliated. And we're going to talk about that on today's show. But it's all about sharing what you know in a way that makes it palatable for people. Everything don't have to be a witch hunt, a burn down. But with that said, ladies and gentlemen, mugshot of the day. I'm on my Marvel superhero game. You see it right through the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, you already see it.
This is what we're doing.
What is that? Yo, bro, you out of pocket. As Brother Frank would say, you're way out of pocket for that. It is nowhere near Christmas mug material right now, bro.
Why is it? It's always time for a Christmas mug. You're out of your mind.
You're almost as bad as the supermarkets, bro. Have you seen this? They're putting Thanksgiving and Christmas stuff out already.
Why do we say this every year? We say this every year. It's not too early. It's not. It's just not. That's the thing. Look, I should have did this. I should have really did this for my mugshot. I should have just held this up. Mugshot.
Nah, but listen, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things we're going to talk about this morning, and bro, okay.
My bad. Knocking the mic.
We're the type of people who tend to respect people. Okay.
No. Speak for yourself.
No, we tend to. We tend towards respecting people.
Nope.
Come on,
no, I don't. No.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I don't. No. Respect is earned. No, I don't. Okay. I don't respect everyone. You have to earn my respect. No, sir. Respect is not something I just dole out willy-nilly. I just meet you and respect you. No. What I am, right, is I am decent. What I do is I have manners. What I do is I acknowledge your presence. I'm polite. I'm all of the above. I'm cordial, but I respect you? Not until I find out if you're not batshit crazy or not.
Okay, fair.
There's a level of common decency that I have, but I'm not. I don't respect that which I don't know, because I could respect you, find out you're a woman beater. Now I gotta retract my respect. So I don't just dole out respect. I just don't.
So we tend toward the sense of common decency would be a better
exactly
way
right. Okay. Sure.
So okay. Now, part of that common decency is if somebody walks up to me and says, "Hi, my name is Pat," I'm going to call that person Pat.
Sure.
Hi,
Okay.
my name is Keisha. I don't care if Keisha got an Adam's apple and a goatee. If somebody
I
says
do.
my name is Keisha, guess what I'm going to do?
I'm gonna call you Keisha, but internally the wheels are turning here.
Oh,
just
absolutely.
like
Well,
I don't know. They just the wheel once you go, hi, my name is Keisha.
okay.
I but my wheels are turning. Just know Keisha for future
Fair,
reference.
fair. So,
My
so
wheels are turning. Mhm.
and I'm getting this because what I'm saying is it is not a fair statement to make that people like you, like me, that want to treat people with common decency. We're going to put respect over there for a second. We're going to treat you with common decency. We'll call you the name you asked to be called, right? But I think the idea of having to master a set of new pronouns for your ass is a bit much, bro. Like I'm already past learning there's she, there's her, there's him, there's
Okay,
his,
let's
there's
take this a
you.
step. Let's take this a step further. Let's take this a step further. Let's share this. Okay.
Okay,
Let's take this
okay.
a step further. Here you go. All right.
What is that?
You see it on the screen. All right. So this is a trademark to them. Hold on. Let's get this right in the screen. Is that big enough? Can you got
Yeah,
it?
that was big enough. Yeah, yeah. What are
Okay.
pronoun sets and what do they mean? He,
All right.
him. These pronouns can refer to people. I'm with you. He, him. I got that. Keep going.
Okay. We got he, him, his. Okay. She, her, hers. Okay. Okay. Here's
They,
where
them,
we start.
their. What?
In addition to its use as a plural pronoun, they, them, and their has a rich history. A rich history. A rich history. A
They hit
rich
you with
history.
rich
A
history.
rich history.
They hit you with rich history. Okay.
The source is singular as far back as 1375. Okay, see, this is manipulation of etymology at its finest. But okay,
They is
They-
often used in reference to a singular person whose gender pronouns are unknown, such as in the sentences, someone left their umbrella here. How can we find out who they are? Or I'm not sure what their pronouns are. Oh, snap. I should ask them next time. That's just. Z.
the gang.
Zunga,
You know
zunga,
what?
zunga, zunga, zang. Hold on. Pronouns come from the trend. So these aren't words that come from etymologists or people with a professional English degree. These are come out of a community as another gender neutral pronoun set. It is up to each individual to decide which pronoun best fits them. Why? Like, why?
Like identities, pronouns can be fluid. Some people don't use pronouns. Some people use different pronouns in different
What?
settings, and sometimes we forget to ask. All right, how do I ask for? Just ask. Okay, that makes sense. What if I make a mistake? Realize you're in. Okay, here's where we're getting off the rails in North Dakota.
You may hurt someone. Hurt. Hurt.
Folks, come on,
Hurt.
come on.
Hurt.
Like, you guys gotta be kidding me. There is no way on planet Earth you guys can tell us we're headed in the right direction when the governments of your states are doing this.
So,
Yo, bro, y'all
so
paid for this?
the
Yo,
individual
come
on the
on,
screen
bro.
has made a
Come
gender identity pronoun mandate. The Department of Health and Human Services is ordering its employees to defy biological reality by referring to transgender coworkers by their preferred pronouns. The HHS employs approximately 80,000 people in the US and abroad and imposed its new gender identity and non-discrimination guidance late last week, which outlines employee rights and protections related to gender identity, according to an alleged HHS email sent to employees and obtained by the CNA, the Catholic News Agency. And then they have I got an actual screenshot of this email that came out here. Hold on, let's take a look so we see what you got here. When individuals bring their whole selves to work, as opposed to bringing what? Half of their self to work? I don't understand. I really, really When individuals bring their whole selves to work, all of us at HHS thrive. We want to ensure that the institute is welcoming, supportive, and where all employees feel safe and seen. What does that mean? What does that mean, seen? Like, I can't just see you
All right.
walking.
So let me
Like,
let me explain this in simple ass terms. This is what I ain't finna do. I ain't finna do this right here. I ain't finna see one person and go they. I ain't finna do that. I ain't about to do that. When I tell somebody they about to come get you, they means a group are about to come get you. I will never tell you they about to come get you and then one dude show up. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't gonna do that. I ain't never gonna do that to you, and I'm never
wow.
gonna think that way. Um, so it opens up an interesting can of worms because what happens is that there's a thin line between people's liberty. You're at liberty. You have the liberty to subscribe to whatever you want to subscribe to. You
Yo,
can believe, hold on, you can believe what you believe until it hurts you, right?
mm,
You have that much liberty that you can believe something till it hurts you. So, where else can you do that though? Like where else can you
yo,
pull that off?
yo, listen to this, bro.
Yes. I'm Andrea Palm, Deputy Secretary here at the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. HHS is proud of the richness and diversity of our workforce. You are a source of unmatched talent and strength for each of our divisions. We want to attract, engage, and retain the best talent, and we recognize that inclusive work environments facilitate a plethora of ideas, perspectives, and viewpoints that lead to creativity and innovation. Today, HHS is announcing a new gender identity, non-discrimination, and inclusion guidance to ensure that our colleagues are able to show up every day as their whole selves.
Can you not show up? How do you show up as not your whole self, bro?
I can answer that.
How? Explain that to me.
Leave a finger at home. You chop your finger, your toe off, leave that at the crib. And
I
then
want to say
and then you
clearly
ain't
to
bring
every
your
one
whole
of you
self to work.
every
That's the
day
only thing
as
you
their
got.
whole
Yo, they did the cinematic zoom cut. Look.
selves. I want to say clearly to every one of you who you are and who you know yourself to be is valid.
Make
Y'all
that
not
make
ready to y'all don't hear this and want to throw up? You don't hear this like this would be this is what I would do. This is what I would do. I would have if I could have the actor that played Napoleon Dynamite read each state's transgender pronoun guidelines, right? And every
God.
statement, right? Yo, if I could, you know how torturous that would be? Someone would rip their eyes out
Like,
having to listen to that.
he, Zher, and Zher come from the trans community.
Yo, could you imagine that? 12 hours of that?
Yeah. So when talking to a group of people, you want yo, that's nuts, bro. Do you hear? Listen to this.
Want you to be your authentic self every day, regardless of your gender identity, sexual orientation, race, ethnicity.
How, how is that the same thing? Yo, this lady looks like she has a miserable existence. She does not look happy about doing
Regardless of
this.
your gender identity, sexual orientation,
Is that a
race,
woman?
ethnicity, religion,
It
or
is.
disability status. We want to make sure that HHS continues to be a welcoming, supportive environment where all employees feel safe coming to work. When individuals
She
bring
looks
their whole
stressed out,
selves to
bro.
work,
She doesn't look happy about this.
all of us at HHS thrive.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Campbell, the Assistant Secretary for Administration here at HHS.
You have to stop this
And
right now. You have to stop this. Go back, please. Put her title back up there, please.
At HHS thrive.
Put her title
Hello,
back
I'm
up there,
Cheryl
please.
Campbell.
Stop right there. Miss Campbell, Miss Campbell is Assistant Secretary for Administration, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. So she is the Assistant Secretary for Administration. So she's not the Secretary. She's the assistant secretary for administration. And I just want to be clear, that is not a white woman.
Hmm.
I just want to point that out
The
for all of
Assistant
my.
Secretary for Administration here at HHS. At HHS, we firmly believe that every member of our agency deserves
Oh,
to
they're
be
reading
treated
it.
with
Stop right now.
respect
Watch the
and
eyeballs. Watch the
Yeah, I see
eyeballs,
the
folks.
eyeballs.
dignity,
Come on, bro.
regardless of gender.
Come on. No. You can't even let this go anymore. You can't even let this go anymore. We have to stop this nonsense right now. This has
This
to
is
be
what's
stopped.
coming.
There's no
So,
way. Hold
look,
on.
we were going to take a
Hold on.
commercial break, but this is the question.
Hold
Doesn't
on.
this
Hold
tell
on.
you that we're going in the wrong direction as a country?
Hold on.
Don't
Listen.
do it, bro. You're going to do it. You're going to do it.
Come on.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, bro.
Okay. No audio. No audio.
I'm
Oh my god.
trans. I'm trans and non-binary. And I feel dysphoric about my body sometimes, like my curves and my butt. But at the same time, I like my boobs. Like, that's fine. So this might be confusing for some people. So like, I use he, him pronouns, right?
You
But
use
I don't
he, him.
identify as a
What?
man. But I'm
Go
trans.
back to the other one, Ra.
I'm
Go
trans
back to the other one.
non-binary.
Where's the other one you played?
When I saw this headline on Twitter, I was immediately like, that is the most trans thing I have ever read. Do you know how many times I've changed a label, stopped using a label, or just don't use a label around certain people or groups because I don't feel like being harassed or having to explain myself? I stopped saying I have he, him pronouns to cis strangers because the look of confusion and processing in their eyes was a little too much for me to bear consistently. Introducing myself as non-binary instead of trans mask if I'm wearing a dress or makeup because I don't feel like explaining that. But also telling cis family members to use he, him pronouns for me because I know they don't understand non-binary identities. Calling myself trans mask when I want to connect with other trans mask people about hormones and identities. But then only going bi non-binary in other spaces because there's so many queer people that hate trans men and trans masks but are okay with non-binary people. Saying that I'm in a sapphic relationship with my girlfriend when both of us don't like using that label and consider our relationship to be lesbian. And the thing is, I'm not even doing this around cishet people. I'm doing this around other queer people. My label pronouns. When I saw this headline on
Yo, this is bad, bro. These people
Oh
are.
my gosh. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, you're checking out Top of the Morning here on the Urban Conservative. The question was asked, are we heading in the right direction?
Well, hold on. Let me add one other thing. Right? Because before we get to this other stuff, right? The political theater. Let's add, because we see Joe up here, right? So let's just go ahead and do this right now. We're gonna just, before we go to commercial, we're gonna go like this. We're gonna make this the whole screen. We're gonna go right here. Now, this ain't us saying this as Republicans. This is just the what really just happened. The latest fact checks on Joe Biden on August 5th, 2020, in an interview. Joe said there will not be another foot of wall constructed in my administration. That ended up being a full flop. Okay, because border walls going up. Okay, under the Obama administration, we invested hundreds of millions of dollars in the state of Florida, replacing wooden power poles with steel poles, and we buried these election lines, these electric lines. Well, that was false, right? That was not true. Okay. Joe Biden has taken office. Unemployment in our Latino community has been cut in half. That's mostly true. Okay, we get mostly true. All right. Joe Biden stated on August 25th, so we're not going far back here.
Right.
Video shows Donald Trump believes there has to be some form of punishment for women who have abortions. It's mostly false. So this guy hasn't told the whole truth yet.
That's false.
Right on the you remark. I standing there the next day. Like he lied.
The congressional record showed he was on the Senate floor that day debating. Yeah,
it's a
debating.
full-on lie. U.S. inflation is now down close to 3%. The lowest among the world's leading economies. It's mostly true, somewhat true. Okay, according to the Congressional Budget Office, the Inflation Reduction Act will save the federal government $160 billion over the next 10 years because Medicare will be paying less for the prescription drugs they're making available to seniors, which is mostly true. Okay. A higher percentage of American workers are working today than ever before. I've already declared a national, so this guy is not looking. The number one related killer is heat. 600. Yo, bro. How could we possibly be going in the right direction? And I know you had a poll pulled up, but we just had to look at the fact checks on this guy. So what was the poll about?
So, a majority of American adults believe the U.S. is moving in the wrong direction, with a poll revealing that only 21% of the respondents agreed with the way the country is heading. The poll was done by Associated Press and the Norse Research Center, which was taken in the days following Kevin McCarthy's ouster from the House Speaker position, and it found that 78% of U.S. adults disagree with the direction the country is taking. The survey also revealed that the general agreement amongst voting age adults has been on a decline, with a 3-point increase in adults who thought the direction was wrong last month. According to the poll's findings, Americans are holding the most negative sentiments about the general direction they're heading in as a country since May, which was during the news of the debt ceiling crisis. Biden's approval rating is a mere 38%. 61% of respondents disapprove of the job. Another question was posed in terms of overall favorability, to which 54% answered that they viewed Biden unfavorably. 42% view him favorably. President Donald Trump was rated less favorably, with 58% of respondents viewing him unfavorable, compared to 37% saying favorable. The latest Real Clear Politics data shows that the two presidential frontrunners are neck and neck, with the Republican having a less than 1% percentage point advantage. Now, what's most striking about the polls is that the public has reached these conclusions despite the media that is overwhelmingly protective of President Biden. In other words, they're keeping as much negativity about Biden out of the news. But what that leads us to, bro, what that leads us to is this: when they talk about a media and this idea that the media is trying to shove ideas down your throat, it's kind of like political theater. And what happens when political theater, this poll is a prime example of what happens when political theater goes wrong. Now, I want to point y'all attention to something. And I say this because we put a disclaimer at the front of this show. And we always say these are our ideas. These are not the ideas of any of the clubs we represent, the parties we're affiliated with, the organizations that we serve on. These are our ideas. They're our thoughts. And one of the things that you got to look at is in a state like North Carolina, where the vast majority of the voters are unaffiliated. Both political parties are in a situation where we are vying for the votes of the unaffiliated voters. That is exactly what's going on. Make no doubt about it. Some of the information put out by Professor Michael Bitzer, if any of you want to look him up, shows that voters between the ages of 35 and 45 are the largest unaffiliated voter block. So these family age people are leaving the Republican Party. And why? That is a question we as Republicans have to look in the mirror and ask ourselves: is why are people going unaffiliated? Why are people leaving the Democrat Party, leaving the Republican Party, and choosing to go unaffiliated? Now, the other question that one has to ask is, just because somebody decides to go unaffiliated, does that mean that they have changed their values? And that's one of the things I think when we talk about this situation that happened in Cabarrus County, right? Now, I know these people. This is not personal, but it's scary to me. And it should be scary to you. It should be scary if you are a party person and you're engaged in partisan politics. If you're part of the Republican Party, we should be trying to understand why people are leaving the GOP and going unaffiliated. We should be doing everything in our power to understand why people are making that decision.
Well, let me put one thing on the table, right? I'm gonna put one thing on the table. Because there are answers to the question, right? There are several answers to the question, but a lot of that unaffiliated some, let me word this very clearly. Some of that can be attributed to political strategy, sure. we're gonna register some of our folks as independents so they can vote in the other party's primaries and blah blah blah. There's some
Some of that
political
is business related. You're
right.
conservative, but you don't want to have a label for the sake of
So
your business.
we're not putting everybody in the same bucket. Fair enough, right? Understand that there are variables within that, but there are a fair portion of people, right, who are for some reason letting national politics trickle down to them leaving their local party. But then there's another dynamic, which is concerning, which is the local internal BS, which is the people who have an agenda that want to go viral, that want to be a internet personality, or they have some other egotistical driven pursuit that clouds their vision and allows them to, again, some people have this this idea that when you become a county chairman, when you become a committeeman, that you somehow are imbued with some power. Like you all of a sudden become a different person, and now you are imbued with some above of the regular person.
It's weird. It's weird.
But if we don't listen, if we don't preface what we're saying with this, right, Ali, if we don't say this being involved, right, and again, these are our views. These aren't the views of the party. These aren't the views of my executive committee. These are my personal views on the subject matter. And the issue is that we're always going to have those type of people, Ali, but they always seem to make themselves known. Lucky for us. Like they tend to pursue power, and they tend to do things, right, that are usually not good. They usually do things that end up getting them in trouble. Because what happens is you're going to do what you think you need to do to get power by any means, and those means usually end up with mistakes. They usually end up with you doing things that are against your bylaws, against your you end up doing things.
And look, and the reason I'm pointing this out, and this is part and parcel of the reason I'm pointing this out. I have friends that are Democrats.
Sure.
Love them to death. They're friends of mine. I have friends that are unaffiliated. Mm-hmm. Love them to death. They're good friends of mine. I have friends that are Republican, right?
Mm-hmm.
If one of my Republican friends says, you know what, Adul, I'm going unaffiliated, I'm not going to accuse him of changing his value set. I don't need to know the reason why you're doing that if you should tell me that. What disturbs me is that when I see a weaponization of the party in this type of fashion, and I'm going to play this video, and I'm going to play the county commissioner's response, which...
Okay, but we have to set this up, right? Because when you play this video, right, people have to understand this is our platform. So we talk about the things that we want to talk about and the things that have meaning to us, right? We don't, if you notice, we don't cover a lot of things that everybody else is talking about. Sometimes they don't have an interest to us because it's just not an interest to us on our platform. There's other things that have an interest to us. There are certain places where we've lived. There's certain places where we've spent time. There's certain places that we've formed relationships with other people that some of us, some of us are now continue to be lifelong friends. And so when we cover these things, it is important to note that, sure, it's like, oh, well, why are we talking about Rocky Mount? Or, oh, why are we talking about Cabarrus County? Or, oh, why are we talking about, Westchester County or some of these places? Because we have connections to these places. So right. I just want y'all to know that Ali has a connection to this place. He spent a lot of time in this county and has formed relationships there. And to move away and then visually observe what's going on, it sucks. It absolutely sucks. It's terrible. Go ahead, man.
The Cabarrus County GOP gladly joins fellow Republicans.
All right, wait. Who is this on the screen? See, people don't even know who's talking. Who is this on the screen?
All right. So at the Cabarrus County Commissioners, the chairman of the county party thought it was a good idea to go up and attack one of the county commissioners who went unaffiliated. Now, The reason he went unaffiliated was because he didn't like the internal politics, the internal drama, the attacks, the you're not a real conservative, all of that. That's why he went unaffiliated. So instead of reaching out to the guy and trying to make things work and figuring out what you could do better to improve the situation, they decided that this was a good idea.
The unborn and the born in order to secure the blessings of liberty and freedom for all. We are committed to the values and ideals outlined in the North Carolina State Republican Party platform, denouncing all forms of bigotry, racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, ethnic prejudice, and religious intolerance.
Stop. So at some point, we're going to get a statement. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Stop.
Go ahead.
Y'all need to understand very simply. Like, let me put this very simply. We have to go back real quick, Ali, because nobody knows why he's talking at this commissioners meeting. Nobody knows what's going on in this video. So he's getting ready to insult and accuse a commissioner who has left the Republican Party because of the direction, because of the things that are taking place internally that we're not going to get into, that are reasons that I would, like, hey, I'm, it's too much of that. Listen, I'm gonna go unaffiliated. I get it. But at what this guy's getting ready to do is attack someone's credibility and their value set, and thinks because it's politics that this is acceptable behavior. So you got up there and you read this statement, right? And you're prefacing it by reading the Republican Party platform so you can hide behind it. You're just creating a wall to hide behind. Go ahead.
We recognize God, not government, as the author of these principles and work together to provide true opportunity and hope for generations to come.
When there was a message release saying that no good Republican should have the name Abdul Ali, none of these people, including the gentleman on your screen, said anything about it. Nothing, just for the record.
Portman's resignation from the Republican Party is deceitful.
So he leaves the party. Did y'all catch that? He called somebody changing their voter.
All right, hold on. And then,
Commissioner Wortman's resignation from the Republican Party is deceitful.
Called him a liar. When somebody does something deceitful, that makes them a liar. Let's just not play games here.
What is deceitful about changing your party affiliation?
Because you ran as a Republican. The claim is going to be made.
Decision to step away from the Republican Party and the principles that unite us is a betrayal of Republican voters who trusted he would represent their conservative interests once in office.
So he changed his voter registration, and now you're saying he's betraying his values? Do y'all not see how disgusting that is to say to somebody?
No, they don't get it. Go.
Do you not understand how absolutely trifling and nasty that is?
No, they don't. They don't. Let it play.
Unfortunately, Commissioner Wortman has had a series of broken promises over the last year. He campaigned as a candidate against tax incentives with a promise to overhaul the outdated Cabarrus County Economic Development Grant process.
That is a lie. You know how I know that's a lie, bro? You know how I know that is a certified lie? Because I was the county chairman when he ran for county commissioner. He never made that promise to anybody. Matter of fact, Kenny Wortman never made promises to anybody about anything. He's not that kind of guy. Just doesn't do that.
Since his election, he has voted in favor of every tax incentive considered by the board without any action on reforming the grant process and leaving the entire community uncertain of his vote for a rumored 30 to 50% property tax increase.
So you're slandering somebody over a rumored tax increase. You're uncertain of his vote. How certain of his vote would you be? Are you suggesting that he ought to vote according to what you and the Republican Party want him to vote like? That's
sure
what that
sounds like to me. That's exactly what it sounds like to me. I don't know, how
as a candidate, he was proud to have waged war against the Cabarrus County Republican School Board and championed the idea of new.
Y'all hear this BS language, wage war? Do y'all like the people that wrote this statement in Cabarrus County are marketing people? They know how to use these hot button, what do you call them? Trigger words, these gaslighting terms. Kenny Workman did not wage war on the school board, bro.
Construction standards for functional schools instead of $100 million facilities. Yet, as an elected official, he voted for the county budget without advocating for any construction standards. Mr. Wortman claimed to be a conservative champion of a better, cheaper, and more transparent government with changes to the Cabarrus Event Center, Cabarrus Health Alliance, and more school choice. But again, he has put forth no effort in reforming any of these programs since being elected. Finally, on the campaign trail, Mr. Wortman declared he was a staunch conservative Republican and named President Donald Trump as his role model. Not even a year into office, he has walked away from the Republican Party and its principles of limited government and lower taxes.
Come on.
Republicans worked for and earned
See,
the
in
seat.
politics, see, listen, this is the thing. In politics, you can't just beat people up for insulting you. Like in real life, you can. You can do, I mean, you're going to go to jail, you're going to get arrested and all that, right? You're going to catch a charge, but like, you can't just, in politics, see, you got to just sit there and take it. And for me, right, understanding how disrespectful this gentleman is being right now, and I barring all of the nonsense that he's pulled, right? You got to be able to, in politics, you got to have a really thick skin. You got to have a thick skin because he's being really disrespectful right now, bro. He said, like, yo, you've walked away from your values.
Model.
Like,
not even a year into office, he has walked away from the Republican Party and its principles of limited government and lower taxes.
See how they do that? He couldn't have just changed it. He walked away from its principles.
Republicans worked for and earned the seat of representation on the county commission.
Yeah, thank you for that acknowledgement that we worked to get Kenny Wortman elected. Appreciate that.
And yet now we're faced with what our founding fathers would have called no less than a turncoat.
Do you?
Yo,
they called the man, bro.
Yeah,
bro.
Listen.
Yo, you got a lot of daggone balls to be
all right, Ali, play the video. Play the video. Let's not even do that.
Commissioner Wortman's departure from the Republican Party is a display of ingratitude and deceit never before in Cabarrus County. As Mr. Wortman embraces his new political liberalism, we expect more tantrums.
Did you hear the shot? His political liberalism?
Do that again.
As Mr. Wortman embraces his new political liberalism.
So now they're going to start calling him a liberal. Come on,
we expect more tantrums.
Yo, and I'm going to tell you something. Listen. Respectfully, I'm going to call it what it is. See, I'm going to call it exactly what it is. See, he doesn't realize what he's doing. Brian don't realize what he's doing. He don't get what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Yo, he doesn't realize he done took over and piloted a seat and he finna crash this plane. He don't understand that. He about to crash the plane with everybody on it. So he responsible for a lot of, for being the leadership of a lot of people. And this is what happens when you're oblivious. This is what happens when you're a narcissist and you're oblivious to what you're doing. It's obvious you're oblivious because you clearly are reading false statements. Like, it's clearly false. Like,
for actions from him on the dais. Considering the difficulties Commissioner Wortman has with aligning with our conservative values, most Republican voters believe Wortman should consider stepping down from his seat in the
Republican voters?
Who? Based on what? See, this is the problem. You get up here and you spew this BS. You can't even reach most Republican voters. You haven't talked to most Republican voters. Based on what? And I'm to believe that this is not helping.
No. Go ahead.
Party, our community, and our voters. The Republican Party will remain steadfast in our commitment to strengthen and grow.
You don't represent the Republican Party. You represent Cabarrus County Republican Party. You don't represent the Republican Party. Like, come on, bro.
Their name on the ballot, it is not simply a strategy to win, it is an indicator that they are aligned and committed to our party platform, values, and ideals. You said no one.
Political theater moment. He took his badge off. I'm going to take my badge off and then I'm going to, yo, bro, what? What? Do y'all
Morons.
not
Go
get the
ahead.
political theater of this? The cringe level of this,
A
bro?
strategy to win is an indicator that they are aligned and committed to our party platform, values,
You
and
gotta play it
ideals.
in low speed so we could.
You said no one can contact you,
Time's up. You need to stop talking.
and I respect your boundaries. I understand what despair looks like, and
Oh, you're going over time, buddy. Go ahead.
He said, I understand what despair looks like. If y'all, do you not understand the rhetorical
Nah, you know
jab
what it
that is
is. You
at
know what it
somebody?
is. You know what it is. He's one of those nasty, and I respect. I'm saying this. He's one of them nasty ass evangelical people. He's one of them. When it comes down to it, I'm gonna throw the Bible out there for my passive aggressive insults. I'm gonna end it off with jamming some Bible in there. So as I've insulted you, I can then seem like I've taken the moral high ground because I've inserted Jesus into the paradigm. And thus, you can't punch a man in the face that just hit you with something biblical
I know what it's
after
like to be
insulting you.
overwhelmed. If your video is true, be brave enough to resign for your family.
See that right there? You see that right there?
Because you've only been to one Republican meeting. God bless you. I want
Because who wants to be around you other than the people that you. No, go ahead.
for
Go
your
ahead.
family.
Yo, see, that's off limits, bro. That's
Yeah, you're bringing people's family into it.
that's
There's no
disgusting.
reason to be
That is-
talking about somebody's family, bro.
That is
It's like listen,
disgusting.
and I say this,
Disgusting.
right? I say the same thing in relation to like boxing matches. I say the same thing in relation to UFC, right? I say the same thing. We're gonna get into a UFC fight, right? There's rules and regulations in MMA. There's certain rules of the we're gonna fight. We're gonna try to knock each other's heads off. We're gonna try to break each other's, try to choke you unconscious. We're already gonna do that.
Right.
So the need to bring up your religion, the reason, the need to bring up your political disposition, the need to talk about your family and your wife, the need to bring up any of that stuff, and we're already going to fight is out of pocket. It's super out of pocket.
Because
shouldn't
you've only
do
been
that.
to one Republican meeting. God bless you. I want every good thing for you.
No, you don't. What?
See what I'm saying? So you say, God bless you. I want everything good with you. But God, see, he brought the God in. You try to hide
Because
behind
you've
some
only been to
type.
one Republican meeting.
Yeah, try to
God bless
hide
you. I
behind.
want every good thing for you.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah, not a clap. Yo, now here's why I play this, because there's one more speaker that goes up, and then this happens. Then this
I
happens.
have for public comments tonight.
Chairman Morris, I would like to address public comment tonight.
Certainly.
Most people don't realize that we can address public comment. We are not the school board. We just typically choose not to because we don't ever want to deter anybody from showing up and speaking their mind. I see since the, and I want to make this clear that this is aimed at the executive
Something about that tattoo on his hand tell me he not the one. I just saw that tattoo on his hand. Was like,
executive committee of
yeah.
hate and hypocrisy decided to show up to
Wait,
make a
back
statement.
up.
I figured
What?
I'd make one back. So, Harris County GOP and not the party itself.
Go back. Wow. See how he separated that?
And I want to make this clear that this is aimed at the executive committee of the Cabarrus County GOP and not the party itself. But since the executive committee of hate and hypocrisy decided to show up to make a statement.
He said the executive committee of hate and hypocrisy. And the reason he said hypocrisy is because the same people sitting there now were hypercritical of our endorsement of Kat Bonds Moore, who was a lifelong Democrat, became a Republican, and not just a Republican. She got on the executive committee. She became a hard worker and a big donor to the party. And the same people screamed, "You can't support no Democrat. She's a rhino," only to turn around and endorse somebody who just changed their affiliation in January. That's hypocrisy at its finest.
Statement. I figure I'll make one back. So
I'm just going to let this play,
I
bro.
didn't see any resignation requests from our executive committee when you had a commissioner that was caught up here lying multiple times.
Yikes.
Or changing your beloved yellow sheet several years ago for the party.
Yikes.
However, what you did do was add that person to your executive committee, which speaks volumes of your actual morals and values. So your job as an executive committee is to grow the party, which apparently is failing miserably. September 23rd, 2023, according to Carolina Demography, 36% of the 7.3 million registered voters are registered unaffiliated, which makes them number one. 33% are registered Democrat, which makes them number two. 30% are registered Republican, which makes you last.
Wow.
I didn't do anything different than anybody that is around my age. So unaffiliated versus all voters. Ages 18 to 34, 35% of those voters are unaffiliated. Ages 35 to 54, 33% are unaffiliated, which I am 40 years old, so that is my age group. Ages 55 to 74, 25% of those are unaffiliated, and ages 75 plus, 7% are unaffiliated. That was as of last month. So instead of coming and writing strongly worded letters that accomplish absolutely nothing, which is the standard that you generally go with, maybe you should ask yourself what you're doing wrong and how to fix it. But
Is that not a reasonable thing to do as a leader?
Yo, son, come on, let it play, son.
instead, you're choosing to run us off. And the reason that is because you're not interested in a conversation. You're only interested in compliance. So the only difference is with me being an unaffiliated and a Republican is I get to choose which ballot that I pull for a primary. Doesn't matter for a general election. The only difference with a candidate is I have to get 2,000 signatures and then petition the Board of Elections to run as unaffiliated. But several of the comments apparently think you need to find somebody to run against me. Apparently didn't watch the video. I am not running again. You got 4 years. That's it. I will not run again. That was a promise I made to my wife, and that is a promise I intend to keep. So I don't understand why you gave your speech and you appear so mad. Last month at a failed viral attempt at a school board meeting, I heard you ask, where are all the men at? Where you found one. You found one that has a mouth and a spine who is not afraid to use it. I don't care if I sit up here, and I don't care if this has never been done, but the people voted for me because I have the guts to say what's on my mind. I'm going to do it whether I'm down there or I'm up here. So a good man by the name of Lin Shu, when I met, made sure to let me know that I might know 100 people and I might be close to 50 of them, but I represent 240,000 people while I sit up here. And what's right for those 50 people that I might know might not always be what's right for the entire county. That's where my decisions come from. So here's what I'll ask that you do. Go home and pray, get some conviction and inspiration, and look in the mirror and ask, did I sell myself out as an individual to conform to what other people think that I should be? Because I can promise you I did not sell myself out. So honestly, the comments are pretty underwhelming tonight. I was expecting a lot more. I honestly think your letter is nothing more than political garbage. That's what I think of your letter that you just read to me. That's the truth. I could care less what that letter says. So to answer you, no, I will not resign. Overwhelmingly, no. And I would like to remind you, according to your Republican platform, Article 3, Individual Liberty, number 6, that says, we disagree with all censorship of constitutionally protected free speech, including but not limited to all social media platforms. So with that said, I'll leave it in your lap, and let's see if I get my free speech like you had. Thank you.
Yikes, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely yikes. Folks, you are checking out Top of the Morning here on the Urban Conservative. That, ladies and gentlemen, went down in Cabarrus County, North Carolina. Again, we as Republicans have to do a better job. We have to look in the mirror. We have to figure out what are we doing to make sure we're not losing people, number one. But number two, just because somebody's unaffiliated doesn't mean that they don't have values and principles. Or if they decide to go unaffiliated, it's not the right move to accuse them of changing their values. So again, ladies and gentlemen, you've been checking out Top of the Morning here on the Urban Conservative. From my twin brother, Raheem Architect Soto, I'm Abdul Ali. We'll see y'all live and direct tomorrow morning.